1.40. Why is it so many minutes?
I don't know. I think it was default.
That's a default now?
I think so.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I guess no one's here anyway, so we can wait a minute.
There we go.
Now it's popped up. Oh, there we go. Now you can see us.
It's already getting really hot in here.
Oh, I bet. I bet. That's hilarious.
At least the eyes are meshed over, so it's like it's not really.
Jay Wolf is here.
Hey, Wolfie, what up?
He says, will this contain spoilers? I haven't seen Venom 2 yet, and it's not released here yet.
We will definitely keep it spoiler free until maybe the very end of the live, and I will give you plenty of notice without for no spoilers and stuff. Did you get that?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that. Tell. No, it's cool. I can tell. Yeah, so Jay Wolf, we'll make sure that we give you a spoiler alert before we reveal anything. And that goes out to all the subscribers too. If you guys can try to keep it spoiler free, at least in the beginning. And then at the very end, we'll have a discussion about the movie with spoilers.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, so we'll do spoiler free first, and then do the spoilers afterwards. So yeah. I just want you to know you look hilarious.
hey, Venom needs to wear headphones too.
Oh, he said thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but that'd kind of be nice. Not everybody's seen the movie yet.
Well, yeah, I assume that.
Yeah.
Because it just came out this week. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so that makes sense.
So, Jay Wolfie, how you been, man? You good?
Huh? Yeah. No, it's just really odd looking at myself talking, but I can't hear myself.
You can hear yourself. You're wearing
headphones. I know. I mean, like looking on the screen here, and I'm talking, but I'm not listening to what I'm saying there. Never mind.
Do you guys know what that means?
Never mind. I'll talk to you about it later.
I'm confused.
Huh. So he said it's not released there yet. Is he in the UK? I think he's one of your UK subscribers.
I think so. Anyone else in the chat?
No. Jay Wolf, he's just saying, doing pretty good. Thanks, Pastor. How are you both?
Pretty good. I'm very hot in this mask, but it's worth it because I have it. So I wanted to wear it for the video. Probably not the whole video, but we did see the movie last night. I've been having kind of a weird week, so I wanted to pick me up, so we went to the theater to see it. And thankfully, we live in a smaller town, so there wasn't that many people in there, and we were able to enjoy the theater experience.
Yeah, no, I'm doing pretty good. I've been working a lot. So, I mean, that's an understatement for sure, because I've been working almost 60 hours a week, most weeks, and it's just going to get worse from here. So, but, oh yeah, JC Cook is here. He says, yo.
JC Cook, what up?
Yeah. So that's pretty much it thus far. I think we're still trying to get some more people. This is kind of an odd time to have a live,
yeah.
Honestly.
What time is it?
Right now it's 2 o'clock.
Oh, that's not too
2:12, but that's here though. Like if it's in the UK, I think it's how much? I don't know what the time difference is.
I think it's like later. It's probably like 8 o'clock over there or something.
Oh, okay. Maybe. I'm not sure. But it's about 2 o'clock right now, which is, not bad, I think. The detail on that mask is pretty insane. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's pretty crazy. Like it's got both layers of teeth that he's got on there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
It fits my head like perfectly. It's just really hot.
Yeah, I'd say so, because it's really stuck to your head.
Yeah.
Oh, J Wolf says it's 8 p.m. here. Nice. You actually correctly said the time. That's crazy.
So what's new in you guys' life? Oh God, what's that?
Somebody trying to call me unavailable, but it's probably some type of, I don't know.
Would you like to talk about your laundry detergent?
Yeah, right, probably. JC Cook says, I see you, Pastor, and I just think of the Eminem song.
Gonna get mocked. Dude, there's a new one for the new movie. It's pretty dope. Okay, it's getting really hot in here.
Are you done?
Yeah,
That's about all you can stand?
But it's like...
Yeah. Who's trying to call you? Are they calling you now, too?
I don't know.
What is this?
Wow, that was hot in that mask, man. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Much better, much better. All right. Let us see what's going on the internet.
Oh, wow. I can hear you much better now.
We've got 6 people in here now.
Yeah. Why does mine say 0 for some reason? I don't know why.
I don't know.
See? Like it says 0. I don't know why.
Oh, no. I don't know.
Should I log out of it and then go back in?
If you want. Hopefully we haven't been ignoring a bunch of messages.
No, I hope not. If we are, I'm so sorry because I couldn't see them. Let me log out of this.
Let me get this mic out of my face.
And try again.
That way go.
And try again. So I just want to point this out that has nothing to do with the stream. Someone called me yesterday, like last night, and they were looking for Ulysses Lindor. And I had no idea what they meant. I said, no. I'm like, I don't know who you are, but no. They were definitely from a foreign country.
They called me Ulysses.
Ulysses. That's what they called you.
That's
so
like,
they were from a whole nother country.
It's like almost delicious.
Sure.
It's like if I was like an exotic dancer.
Yeah, and I meant to tell you that yesterday, and because I laughed really hard afterwards, because I know it was like a telemarketer or something like that, but it just was hilarious. They couldn't pronounce your name.
Would you like to talk about laundry detergent today?
I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought
There we go. I fixed it now. Now I can see everybody.
Cool. Yeah, I knew I wanted to go live this weekend. I just didn't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. Like always, a lot of stuff's been going on. Those of you who know me, who know more of me or whatever, I've had a lifelong constant battle with like severe depression. I've been I don't know what the diagnosis is or whatever, but I've seen physicians about it. I'm on medication for it. Sometimes it just it isn't enough because I'm a thinker and I'm like a processor. So I constantly, like a gerbil on a wheel, in my mind, I'm just grinding things to dust. And I know that that's not something I should do. It's not healthy, for mental health and everything, but I can't help it at times. And I just dig myself deeper and deeper into another mental rut. So a lot of that stuff, it seems like probably an excuse on the surface, but it's a very real struggle. Anybody out there who, struggles with depression and stuff, my heart goes out to you because from personal experience, it sucks. But yeah, yesterday was one of those days. It was really rough. Friday was like probably one of my all-time lows in probably years, I would say. Friday was a really bad day. I don't know why. It was just a rough 24 hours. And we went to the movies yesterday to see Venom 2, and I was like, well, I'll do a live and talk about it briefly as kind of like, the face of the live or whatever. I was like, we'll do an actual podcast on it, talking about it in depth, give people some time to watch the movie and all that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's what I've been going through lately, trying to do some editing to get some of the massive content that we already shot, edited and compiled for you guys and everything. Still looking for an editor. Probably have to go a little bit wider in my search and not in my inner circle of friends that I know who do this kind of content creation. Probably going to have to go with a complete stranger and hopefully form some sort of relationship with them to get some of these videos edited. That way I can shoot them, because shooting is easy. The editing is what takes time, and you have to have a good headspace and all that. So if I can get this content pumped out and have someone, who does it for a living, who has it down to a science, edit these videos, and I can get them out, in a timely fashion, I know it'll be a lot better. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us. I think we have 5 people in the chat. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to join before I get started on some of the bullet points, or topics rather, for the episode, for the live.
JC Cook says, my exotic name is Sexton Hardcastle.
Good God, brother. Hard castle? Like, I don't want to imagine a soft castle. Like, can you imagine? Like, you're in a castle.
Well, like a sand castle, like when you do sand castles on the beach, maybe.
Fair.
That's about the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a pretty squishy castle.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I think my name would be, I say this all the time, mine would be Deontay Bonquiqui. That's just one of the aliases there for you guys. Not sure where I came up with it. I think it's an amalgamation of different names or jokes or something I've heard throughout the years in movies and shows and stuff like that.
JC Cook also says that, Pastor, I'm the same way, man, and you are fine.
Yeah.
Depression. It's horrible. You know, it can be deadly disease. And it definitely is a disease. It's not something that people can help. I actually, when I was younger, I went into school for psychology. And I ended up getting pretty close to the subject. My, Ulysses and I don't know if he ever told you guys the story of how he and I met, but we actually met in a hospital that we were working at, and we were dealing with that on a daily basis with patients and things like that. And it was rough. It was really rough to try and, wade through all that kind of stuff. And it was it's hard. It's hard to deal with that stuff. But I just hope that all the subscribers know that, we're all here for you guys, and, he's here for y'all. And, every step of the way, I try to make sure that I encourage him, even if it's just one of you out there at the end of this, that once they see the content and everything, we are there. I will make sure that I push him to make content, and we, do what we need to get done for you guys, our subscribers. So,
yeah, I say all the time, I'm like, hey, I was going to do this earlier. It's like when you had the oral problem with your surgery and stuff, like your mouth was like freaking out to here, that was a big hindrance, not to mention today, you guys can't tell because with the mics and the way that we set up the studio and everything, we try to make it to where it was on the other end of the house. So if the kids were running around or the dog was barking or something like that, it wouldn't interfere with the stream all that much, because my house is basically one straight line. It's not really like a square, it's more of like a rectangle, and it's a very old-fashioned house. And the beauty of that is that I can put something like a podcast studio in one end of the house and then the kids on the complete opposite end of the house. So with all that being said, our kids are not here today. That is a very rare occurrence that we have, a very rare luxury that we have.
Yes. God bless our the kids' grandparents, my parents, and your parents.
Yeah, because kids are rough, man. Like it's whenever anyone says raising kids is the toughest gig in the world, they are not exaggerating. They're not joking. It is the hardest job I have ever had in my life. I'm only 33 years old, but I've worked in many, many different businesses. I've done everything from fast food to logistics to managing companies, assistant managing companies, that kind of thing. And it doesn't matter how hard your job is. You get to clock out every single day. Most of us do. And that is huge. That is something that most people don't really think about. And I don't think most people really realize that blessing that, maybe those of you who are on salary know that it sucks because you're technically not on the clock. You're just working. But for most of us, we work hourly jobs, and you know that no matter how bad your day is, if it's bad enough, you just quit. You can quit. You know that you can quit. Or you know that it's a means to an end, even if it's for the day. You're going to clock out and go home. When you're a parent, that is 24/7.
Even when you're sick.
It doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter if you have a bad day. It doesn't matter if you lost your best friend. It doesn't matter. Your kids are there and they're like, hey, we're hungry. Hey, we're thirsty. Hey, we want to go outside. We want to do this. And you're like, I really don't want to. I just want to crawl in a hole all day. And you just can't. So, it's really, really hard. So that's another big hindrance a lot of the time for me to do content, because whether I'm editing it, I can't hear what I'm doing. And then the edit job gets all messed up. And then, I always have Ashley. I try to have Ashley or CJ or someone that I trust or someone that knows the kind of content I create on the inside to go, hey, check out this video. I just edited the video, how does it, how does it look? And the person's like, for some reason during this part of the video, it just sounded, XYZ or whatever in a negative way. And I'm like, really? Then I watch it again and I'm like, how did I miss that? And it was probably because the kids were screaming in the background or the dog or, something. So, it's rough. And then imagine filming the thing. Like we've done some of the videos where, you guys obviously wouldn't know this, but it was like 30 or 40 takes. You calculate how many times I get tongue tied, or we forget what the line was, or I trail off and start rambling, and then I have to like, wait, how did I get here? And then, you eliminate all those takes, plus the takes of like one of my kids trying to pile drive the other one, or one of my kids trying to run through a solid, door, or like, the dog gets her tail grabbed or something like that through the little baby gate. Like it's a lot of stress. So, I think I'm rambling now in saying that.
Well, I just wanted to let you know Joyful Spirit's here and she's saying hi to us.
Hey, what's going on?
And then she said no clocking out on kids, which is very true. I mean,
yes,
it is very true. You can't clock out on your kids. Sometimes you feel like you have to, and sometimes if you need time, it's okay to clock out for like 5 minutes. Make sure that they're safe first, obviously, and then, take a deep breath. I have to do that a lot, especially when they're yelling and getting frustrating with each other. I have to, take some time and say, okay, just relax. It's okay. It's okay. They're just kids. They don't know any better. And a lot of times they're still trying to work out their emotions too, trying to help a little human being that has 3 years of their life. That's it. They don't know anything, and you have to kind of put it in perspective sometimes. And I know for me, that's helped a lot. Be a better mom is to try to put things in perspective and think how they would think. Well, I'm only 3. I don't really know that, mom's going to come back after work. I don't really know that dad is, going to come back after he goes to the bathroom sometimes. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to keep screaming and stuff until I make sure that they come back, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff with kids that, you have to like, pick your poison and make, have your own, try to make your own sanity, I guess.
Yeah. And like, and we're blessed, I mean, having a kid, whenever we first were expecting our first, and they're like, oh my God, what do you want it to be? And we literally were like, it doesn't matter as long as it's healthy. Like that is definitely something that I would like push really hard towards any aspiring parent or, someone who's looking, to even adopt. Don't worry about like, having the perfect job, the perfect car, the perfect child, whatever, because life isn't perfect. And, as long as the times where, whether you believe in like God or whatever, the times where you literally are like, look, I have the opportunity to put positive vibes out there in the universe. That's one of the best examples, is by saying, I don't care what it is, as long as it's healthy. That's one of my big examples. And, we're fortunate that our kids are pretty much healthy.
Yeah.
We don't have like, a special needs child or a child who has some sort of, physical disability or something like that, because that is a very real situation. And, obviously my heart goes out to those kind of parents, because that's even harder than what we're, complaining about now. And, that's just something that we don't technically have to deal with, on a personal level. And I see parents that, they're like, well, what do I do? How do I know? And, in this day and age, everything is so scientific, and, it's very easy to slap a label on something. So, it could be very difficult. But I don't want this podcast to be all about being a parent. I was just waiting for more people to show up.
Yeah. JC Cook did say something. He was saying that, not to go into detail, but I got like 5 things going on around the same time, 2 work related, 1 health, 1 family, and 1 friend. So much stress and depression. My body just starts to go, and
it definitely like, gets physical.
All of that, all of that stuff.
It can get very physical. I've had days where I have to will myself out of bed. Like I just can't. I look at my doorway, and I know everything that's on the outside of that door needs to get taken care of. Whether it's looking over and seeing that both the kids are watching television, and I'm like, okay, I have 5 minutes to be depressed. It's a dance. Sometimes it could be a very difficult dance, this thing called life. And I definitely am very sympathetic, and I can relate to a lot of, real world issues, friendships. You guys aren't a stranger to my life in that, in my life recently, in that regard with friendships and stuff, and how it sucks when you lose friends and stuff. I still to this day constantly get asked, the questions that, some of you ask, what happened and all that kind of thing. And that it's not that I shy away from it, because I don't want to relive it or anything like that. Obviously who does, but it's something that, life doesn't wait for anyone. It just keeps going. And whether it means a death in the family, or, you get fired, or something happens that's like life stopping, it really doesn't stop anything. And that can be the hardest part, because you want it to just pause, and you want to process, and you want to go, what just happened? Sometimes when it's a positive thing, like you get a promotion, or you bag someone's number, or you get a first date or something, you sit there and you're like, did this just happen? Is this real? So it goes for the positive and the negative. But when your life throws a curveball at you, whether it's a good one or a bad one, you kind of have to pause to process it, but you're not pausing anything. Life's just it continues to tick away, and it can be very scary. So if you're out there and you have any kind of issue with that, you're definitely not alone. I'm sure many of you have heard that before, but it's very, very, very real. So anything you'd like to touch on that before we keep going? As I have a hair in my mouth.
Ew.
I think that came from the Venom mask. That's kind of gross. It was like a white hair.
Ew. It's not mine, so I don't know where that came from, but
I don't know.
no, I mean, I have to agree with you on that. You and I've been going through a lot lately, just with everything, my job, your job, honestly, and like everything that we've been going through.
Well, my job's fine. It's your job taking you away for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating. I'm trying to move on and get different hours, and I'm hoping that'll work. But we'll see. We'll see.
And the good news is, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, I've been going to the gym pretty routinely, and back on a what is it called, meal prepping, and trying to get a healthier lifestyle and stuff like that. I've dropped about 15 pounds. When I started this back in, I want to say it was like late July, like right around my birthday, right around late July, early August. I was like, I'm going to go back to the gym. I'm going to re-up my membership. I'm going to start doing meal prep again. Starting to cut down on the stuff that I like, or that I really, really like, that I really shouldn't like, and drink more water and all that kind of good stuff, and just see what happens, because for those of you that know, way long time ago, probably like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I started one of Matt's one of his regiments, and he was actually like training me for a while, and I learned a lot of good habits and stuff, obviously, because that's what Matt does for a living, and I kind of kept a lot of those notes and stuff, and how it was when I started, and how I felt mentally when I started, and it's great to see that that's the same thing, because I did take a break and kind of like ate whatever I wanted and stuff like that. And then I didn't get necessarily heavier, but I definitely felt a lot more sluggish, and I didn't have a lot of stamina. Like, I get winded after doing something that was just like barely any energy required. And so I went back, all that to say, I went back to eating quote unquote correctly, which is portion control, and not necessarily calorie counting, but definitely portion control, and trying to have that caloric deficit going. And then I introduced the gym on top of that. So I didn't really notice any change until I helped your parents with unloading.
Oh yeah.
Your grandmother, her grandmother moved from Virginia down to our area, and she brought like a giant U-Haul full of like a bunch of stuff. And
furniture,
it was
like every kind of thing you can possibly manage. I mean, from so I mean, they moved her down here, and I'm telling you, without your help, they wouldn't have ever finished getting all that stuff out of there, because I mean, my parents aren't getting any younger, and my grandmother can only lift so much. So the fact that you were there, I think, really meant a lot to them. And so
they were very very vocal about that too. They were like, how are you not tired? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, of course I worked FedEx. I was in a produce company for a long time, moving and shipping boxes with hand trucks and dollies and stuff like that. So all the nuances and all the little like finesses of how to like, control the the cart so that I don't run into anyone or stub anyone's, toe or anything with it. And they were just like taken aback. And I didn't realize that like at one point your mom was just like looking at me do my thing. And she's like, how long have you operated a hand truck? Well, I was like, my whole life, it's just something I don't even think about at this point. She's like, I can tell. And I was like, oh, okay. And they were just like getting tired and I was just unloading all the stuff. And then I got home and I still had to go to the gym. I still had the rest of my day planned and I did it all. And, it was crazy. It was insane. What's up?
I just read some of that.
But yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but anyway, yeah. So it was crazy. Like I went to the gym, I did all that stuff, and then I was like, wow, I got probably a lot more steps. Oh, that's another thing. I've been doing a lot of steps. So I had like one of those pedometers, an old fashioned one. I tried to I do the thing on my phone, but because this phone is enormous and most of my pockets are not big enough unless I'm wearing like sweatpants or something to carry this monstrosity that I call a cell phone, it doesn't accurately count all my steps. I know you're supposed to have like something like 10,000 steps or something like that. Ideally, I started off with like 4,000, then I went up to 5,000 steps. Now I kind of just see how many I had at the end of the day because I do add more physical activity. So that's another it makes it like a game. At least for me, I look at it like a game, like, oh, how many steps did I break my record of yesterday? So every day I'm like trying to break the record of the day before. And in looking at things like a game, like those dance studio, like Zumba and like, what's the other one? Taibo and stuff like that. When you look at it like you're just playing a game, or even if you're just dance on the Wii or something like that, that's when it doesn't become working out anymore. It's just you hanging out, playing around, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, my pants are a lot looser. And that's little things like that. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. And I feel really good because I'm getting results, and the results aren't, like superficial. They feel legit. Like my clothes are fitting better. I'm not necessarily like on the scale. I'm not necessarily dropping 50 pounds, even though I feel 50 pounds lighter, because I am doing weight training and stuff like that too. So that's pretty much, you said it. A couple other people are like, hey man, you losing weight? And I'm like, I'm trying to. I'm glad to see that you guys are seeing it now. Cause I look at myself every day and I don't see it that way. But yeah, I definitely feel,
tell. I mean,
yeah,
I'm with you every day. So, I mean, I sleep beside you.
Yeah.
So
I feel a little spring, not a little spring, but more of a spring in my step as far as like being lighter on my feet and, not as winded and all that good stuff. But anyway, we had 3 months where either things got shipped to the patrons for winning the giveaways, or they got shipped back, or something happened with the process of shipping it or whatever. So somehow we're 3 months behind. And then on top of that, a lot of the stuff that you guys know about that I've been trying to keep you guys updated on with my life and everything going on that has held up the giveaways. So we have 3 winners to announce on top of the rest of the podcast or whatever. I will get to that probably in a little while. I don't know how long have we been live.
Probably about 30 minutes, 36 minutes.
Okay. So yeah, I'll definitely get to that in a little bit. Who won? I'm not going to say what you won because I think it'd be more fun for you to just get a package in the mail going, huzzah, what is it? But yes, we off camera, we did the, I didn't use the traditional die. I used a different one, which is one of my D20s that I'm actually holding it in my hand. You probably can't see it because it's literally tiny. But I use one of the D20s that I let players use when they play D&D at my house. And I'm probably going to give that away as well. Just as kind of like a small little memento of, hey, this was actually used on the channel to decide who won the Patreon live. So one of you 3 winners is probably going to receive this D20 as well. But yeah, so Venom. We went yesterday and saw Venom. This is going to be a spoiler-free live that we're going to do or whatever. And we're going to have a podcast on the channel with CJ, and we're probably going to have that one be spoiler-filled. Because he and I have a lot of thoughts on the movie as far as like what we liked, what we disliked, and that kind of thing. So he and I will probably get really in-depth with that. Probably the very next episode of Where Nerds Play would be about Venom 2. But the movie was a good experience. Obviously, I'm ready. So are you for the world to get back to normal?
Oh gosh, yeah. I can't even. I don't think there really is going to be a normal. There's going to be a new normal, but I don't think anything's ever going to be the exact same as what it was pre-pandemic. There's just no way. I mean,
Right.
there's just no way. Like, too much stuff has happened in every aspect of the world, you know, politically, you know, I mean, the mental health, or not mental health, but like, you know, the healthcare industry is changing. Like, everything is changing because of this pandemic. It's affected everything. All aspects of life has definitely been affected. So
yeah, I think in my life, the closest thing was the aftermath of 9/11. That's, apart from it being really close to me because I was in New York when it happened. I was very young, and you know, it scared the crap out of me and my whole family because we're like, well, we're gonna die. But that was the most recent event that took place. That was like humans just Americans mainly for that. But now all of humanity just has to adapt and overcome, obviously, you know, what happens, and trying to, you know, be safe and take all the precautions and everything. But you're right. I think this is definitely not going to revert back to any kind of normal that we had. I think it'll definitely cause a new normal, and it would make it to where, you know, we just do things differently. And hopefully now, I don't want to say, because obviously we've lost, you know, hundreds of thousands of lives. I don't want to say that it was something that had to happen, but hopefully, silver lining in the unfortunate, we can all get closer together and not be so, you know, not have so much turmoil and so much, you know, like prejudice in every sense, whether it's, you know, sexual orientation or race or whatever, you know, but it is crazy. It's crazy to say, you know, like we went to the theater yesterday, and it's crazy that we sat there and we were looking at the trailers, and, you know, people were coming in and sitting down and watching a movie. And I'm so used to seeing people like just walk by and they're going somewhere completely different, because why would they come to my house? We're in a pandemic now, you know? And then I'm like, we're at the theater, we're sitting there, we're like random people in the room. It's like, it causes everyone to kind of like, I don't know if it's like amplify their awareness, or like, you know, why are we all in a room together? Like, cause you watch movies, you watch these shows, and people are like making out and like touching hands.
Yeah. Like, in your, I'm not going to lie. The last movie that I watched, I don't even remember what movie it was, but it definitely was a movie from like the 2000s where, I mean, no one even thought about a pandemic or even thought that it was even something that was going to happen. And I just remember like my mentality was, oh, gross, they're making out. Like, and which is hilarious because, you know, obviously, you know, I don't think making out is gross because, you know, I am married, you know, and it's just crazy because that's my mindset now that, you know, oh no, you can't do that. You guys have to like wash your hands first. Like, did you brush your teeth? You know, like you have to, like the mindset, I think collectively has changed, and pretty much most people's minds has just pretty much changed. And I remember sitting at the theater. This is something I didn't get to talk to you about, but whenever we went and watched Venom, I remember sitting in a theater and I'm like, oh wow, there's like people behind us now. I forgot what that felt like. I forgot what it felt like for somebody to walk behind me and bump my seat as I'm trying to go by. Like, like, you know, like I know it's crazy to think about something like that, but you know, I forgot what that felt like. I forgot that.
Oh, that one guy that he had to, I don't know if it was he had to go to the bathroom or he had to do something.
He had to do several things throughout the entire time, and I'm like, my guy, like, come on.
Yeah, he was like, excuse me, excuse me, sorry, excuse me, sorry. And I was like, hey, no problem, dude, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I remember there'd be times where that when someone had to cross by my path, I would have to get up because I was like, physically, I'm blocking your way. And it made me feel really good yesterday that like he went in front of us and I didn't have to stand up, because I was like, all I have to do is just shift myself in my seat. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm getting healthier. I know I'm just really excited because I've always been a bigger guy and I've always wanted to be slimmer. And it's like for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm in control of that. So I know it sounds really dumb, but yeah, so that's just a little detail that I noticed last night when the guy was like walking by. I didn't have to like stand up to get him to go. Yeah. I just had to just like sit up straight, and he was easily able to go by.
Yeah. So M and Comic Books is here.
What's up?
Rander's here too.
What up? Sorry, we've been ignoring the chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. Let's see. They're just asking how we're doing. We're doing good. Myth Rander says, "Oh, the pastor blessed 20 die." It's been blessed. Yeah. So, Mr. he said, I haven't been to the cinema in a lifetime, and I think the last time I went was like from Far From Home. Yeah. Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't. What was the last movie that we saw in the theater? I don't honestly remember.
Shang-Chi.
Was it? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. We did see that, which that was a great movie too.
It
But
was.
we won't talk about it here.
It was. Well, I think we can in a little bit because CJ and I were going to do a podcast on that, and then a bunch of stuff, scheduling, everything happened. You know, enter excuse here, and we weren't able to make. We can actually talk about it if you like a little bit.
Yeah.
I know the title is Venom 2, but we can start talking about the spoiler-free Venom at any point. But yeah, Shang-Chi was pretty good. My thoughts on it were, I think it ranks very, very, very high in I might have to do at the end of phase 4, maybe halfway through phase 4, if it's anything at all, as long as phase 3 was for the MCU, I'm probably going to have to make another video or podcast episode breaking down my top 10 for the MCU, because Shang-Chi is definitely in my top 5. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I have to agree with you that too, Passer. Like, I know JC Cookie's just asking if we like the movie. Yeah, I love the movie. It's definitely in my top 5. It bumped down it bumped down my list of top MCU movies. So I loved it that much. I thought it was an amazing movie. It's well worth watching in the theater if you're able to go safely.
Yeah,
safely.
But yes, it was the only 2 movies that I don't think it can dethrone are Black Panther and Ragnarok. Those movies are pretty much flawless for me. As we talked about earlier, in videos in the channel and stuff, I put Endgame. First of all, I put Endgame and Infinity War. I make it one movie. I can't. It's 2 movies. It's like over 4 hours of runtime, but I have to consolidate them into one movie because it's one story. So with that being said, both of those movies and or one story is on like a tier 0. So I couldn't really compare any of the other MCU movies to that. However, I do, as a little factoid I was talking to CJ yesterday when the movie was right before the movie started. I leaned over and whenever we saw the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Yes.
And I was like, I looked over to him. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, I'm just going to put a prediction out there just randomly. I think that Spider-Man No Way Home is probably going to be the highest grossing MCU movie right under Endgame and Infinity War, because the anticipation, the years in the making, it's almost like a mini MCU for all the fans. There's a bunch of fans, I'm sure, that are divided. Thankfully, most of the fans and most of my friends that I've spoken to about what they feel the movie is going to do and what they want from the movie and everything, everyone is just super excited to see their favorite Spider-Man have their day in the sun, whether it's through a villain or through an actual Spider-Man appearance. But I think that movie is going to gross a ton of money. Mm-hmm. It is going to probably fund phase 5 at least halfway.
Oh, I definitely plan on watching it at least twice in the theater,
which
100%. Is, kind of rare because I normally only get time for just once, but I want to plan to see it once, but twice, at least twice in the theater, with whoever group of friends. Oh, you haven't seen the movie? I will go with you right now. Let's go. So I'm totally down for that.
Anything from the chat?
We've got Jay Wolfie said that he's been lucky enough to go to the cinema a bunch recently, which is awesome. Congratulations for you, because I know there's still parts of the country and the world that still can't go to the theaters. So,
or that they don't even have theaters anymore because they all keep closing down.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great that you're still able to support your local theater if you're able to. I'm not sure how to say this person's name, so I'm going to try not to butcher it as much. I'm going to say Brooklyn Notorious, maybe. That's how you say that.
That seems correct.
Says, I didn't realize you were going to say that. That's hilarious. I did not know Pastor Dude had a YouTube channel. Always enjoy his intake on the Holden Hardman videos. So I guess he came from the Holden Hardman videos and saw that you had your own YouTube channel, which,
welcome.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out. Mm-hmm. Venom says hi too.
Hi there.
Mythrander says that they want to see an R-rated Wolverine film, which is one of the big critiques and gripes about the Venom or Venom 2 is the lack of such elements. But they're still super hyped. The 3 MCU Spidey. Yeah.
With Logan was the closest thing we got. That was to me, it was cinematic genius. A lot of people didn't care for the story that I've spoken to subsequently afterward. They kind of like, I guess, had time to process it, and they were like, Logan was okay. I kind of like the comic version better. And I'm like, I get it. I was able to separate. I've been saying this for the longest time that I wanted to make a video about how I feel about the movie versus Old Man Logan, the original source material for James Mangold's Logan. And I haven't yet. I don't know why. I think it's because I feel like it's past its time, but I should just do it anyway because that's fun. But yeah, so the movie I loved. I love the beginning. The beginning was so good. It set the tone for the whole thing. Him waking up in the back of the car, you know, super gray-headed and everything, just like he looked in the comic, and the guy, you know, him trying to like sacrifice his body to save the limo. You know, and then finally just losing it and going absolutely X2 rated R visceral. I know that sounds terrible. I don't like to see people mutilated, but it's all, you know, fantasy and whatnot. But yeah, it reminded me of the X2 scene where he was pretty much single-handedly taking back the school from Stryker and all his, you know, military personnel. And he jumps off the second floor balcony and is like, oh, he throws the guys and he's like, let's go. And I'm like, oh my God. You know, I was walking around with 3 fingers like, let's go.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I do like that comic book movies don't have to be like cult classics to have that R rating, like your Blades and you know, movies like The Punisher and stuff like that. Maybe not. I don't think Thomas Jane's Punisher was rated R, but definitely I would imagine the Warzone one was, because that was pretty good as far as like the violence goes and things like Watchmen and stuff like that. I would love to see a rated R version of Venom, because Venom is, as you guys can see from, you know, those of you that aren't big Venom fans that are just watching the movies, Venom eats people's brains, guys. That is like what he does. So you can't have a PG version of that without humor. Humor has to be the saving grace if you're gonna, you know, mute the violence. So a rated R Venom would be sick.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will, you know, lease the rights or something and be like, hey, I'm gonna make a Venom movie where he literally eats like a whole playground or something. Oh, that sounds terrible.
No,
but
no,
you know.
don't say that. No. Well, I mean, and I think the second Venom movie, and you know, no spoilers on this, but I definitely think that they did play up the Venom. They did play up the like comedy part of it in the movie to kind of offset some of the more darker themes of the film.
Oh yeah.
But I think they did it in such a way that it felt organic. It didn't feel like it was forced. And the playoff between Venom and why am I blanking on his name? The main guy of the entire film. Yes. No, not Venom. I meant like his host. Host. I know that's Carnage. I'm not talking about Carnage. Eddie, thank you. I forgot Eddie's name. That's so sad. I literally just watched it last night. That's how much mom brain. So Eddie, like the time Eddie and Venom, you know, it was nice to see their interaction with each other. They showed a lot of the two of them working off of each other, and you know how they're living their life together, you know, and how that has affected, you know, each other's lives, you know.
Yeah, because it followed the classic, which I'm not saying I have a problem with this, but it seems like a classic theme or formula of, let's do the pseudo origin story in Venom 1, and then we only really have like maybe a third of the movie to enjoy the full-blown like Venom character, because, you know, he struggled. He was like, what is this? It's a parasite. Then they argued, then they fought, then he got separated, then he had to get him back because Riot was taken over. And then finally we get to see, like, you know, the part of the superhero movie where the hero gets all their powers dialed in and their costume and everything. So for Venom, it was like that, like any other superhero movie. And then now we get an entire movie runtime of him as Venom. We don't have to worry about any kind of establishing, you know, situations. He's been Venom for however long between movie 1 and movie 2. And then now it's like, all right, it's, everyone knows, you know, Mrs. Chan, I think that's her name from the convenience store.
Mrs. Chan.
She knows that he's, you know, that Venom is a thing. Nobody, you know, it's not just the audience. So now we can kind of enjoy a Venom movie, not so much an Eddie Brock movie. So, and it definitely gave us that with the humor and everything else.
Like most definitely. And Like, I like that even though you may have seen the trailer for the Venom 2 movie, it didn't feel like cheapened by that, because I know you and I have said many times, especially you have said many times, that you will watch a trailer and that's like all the good parts of the movie is the trailer. In this, I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like it would just the trailer enhanced the movie already. And I'll be honest with you, I actually like this movie better than the first one. In my opinion, I did. I think that had we gotten this movie as the first Venom movie, I would have been happier than what we got in the first Venom movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, I don't disagree, but I don't necessarily agree either. I think it's still too soon for me to come up with that judgment, I guess. I know that this movie, unless I'm, and if you guys know out there, if I'm 100% incorrect, please let me know in the comments or let us know. But I think this movie didn't suffer from the juggling of IP with, as far as Marvel and Sony and everything, and Disney. So I think the first one, they had to kind of like New Mutants. It was right around that time where it was like changing hands of who owned the intellectual property. And I think the movie New Mutants definitely suffered from it. But I think Venom did to some degree, because memory serves, I think that scene in the bank in the first one, I can't remember if it was a bank or if it was a business building, where like he comes out and he's going up against like a SWAT team, and they throw smoke grenades, but you kind of see it through the infrared goggles of one of the guys, and Venom, like you actually see him grab like a body, the silhouette or the heat vision of it, like a flyer or whatever is the name of the thing, and he swallows the guy's face or whatever it is. Like that was supposed to be rated R. Like the movie they envisioned that being like him ripping people apart and doing Venom stuff. Yeah. And because it was PG-13, they kind of had to they
showed you what was about to happen and then cut away from the actual violence itself. They show, okay, well, they kind of did it Disney style, like when
with Clayton.
Like Clayton, like Tarzan, spoilers, guys.
What, for Tarzan?
Well, I don't know.
Tarzan's been out for like 117 years. It's fine.
Yeah. Clayton, you see like his body hanging down, and you see the flash of the thunder, So, I mean, that's how they kind of did it. And they did it in the Venom 2 movie too. There were parts though that were pretty intense that like the way that they handled it, I thought was pretty brilliant. Some of the more violent aspects of it, but for the most part, I really liked it. I liked it better than the first one.
I don't remember my audience experience or the audience experience in the first one. I think a lot of people were just like happy to see Venom. No offense to you, Topher Grace, if you're somehow watching this, a Venom that wasn't Topher Grace.
Yeah.
But as far as this one goes, like the audience that was in there with us, everyone was like super happy at how funny it was. Yeah. Because the humor, like there was people laughing at jokes that I didn't find very funny. Not because I'm saying like, I don't have a sense of humor. Obviously, I think I do. But a lot of the jokes I thought were a little on the nose, but like not on the nose for an objective negative experience, if that makes sense. Like for me, it was just like, oh, okay, I get what they were going for with that joke. It just didn't hit me like it hit the guy behind me that was like, yeah, like laughing like Popeye. You know what I mean?
See, and another thing I've noticed that, especially for you, you tend to like movies the second time around if you didn't like it initially the first time, because that's how you've been with a lot of movies. Like and it's always been the opposite. It's always been like either I really like the movie and you're like, and then later on you're like, oh, I actually really liked it. Like after watching it a couple times, I'm like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. I've saw it a couple more times and I've learned to appreciate it, I guess. Yeah. So I feel like after you watch it a couple more times, maybe you'll appreciate it a little bit more.
Well, like people don't like
a lot to take in, so
people didn't like New Mutants. Like most of my friends that are into comics and stuff, they're like, I hated it. I thought it was dumb. And I love that movie. I don't know why. Like New Mutants, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the cinematography or the overall aesthetic, the acting. I couldn't tell you what it is, but that movie, I think about scenes in the movie. I think about how can I utilize parts of the movie in like role-playing games. Like I always have New Mutants in the back of my mind, and it's not like a blockbuster. I think it did terribly. Apart from it suffering from the whole IP thing, I think a lot of people just didn't take to it. I got super into it. MN Comic Books, if you're still in the chat, you sent me a couple issues of it. I treasure those comics because the movie, the more I watch it, the more I like it. I don't know why. It's just my guilty pleasure, I guess. But I get what you're saying as far as like watching a movie the first time and I'm like, it was okay. Then I watched it again and I'm like, why was it not great
Yeah,
the first
like
time?
you always have kind of, especially if you don't like it to begin with, you usually find ways to appreciate it later on. And I guess that's all I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Also, someone commented on the Venom mask, and they said that it was top tier. So yes, it is amazing. You
say I am top tier. Thank you very much.
Chupapi?
Chupapi? What? Let me see. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that if that's your name. What we got? What we got? Oh,
we've kind of been ignoring the chat, so we kind of need to go back to that.
Chupapi. Yeah, it is Chupapi. What's up?
Yeah. So, they were talking about, someone mentioned that, Black Panther was a little overrated with all the CG in the end, which I can totally understand that. It's hard. It's hard to get around CG, especially when you have, great movies now that do kind of both and kind of have both of them in there. Like, I don't know, like CG can be distracting if you're not used to it, or if you just don't get wrapped up in the movie enough to kind of, like, I feel like anytime I see a lot of CG, in the back of your mind's always going to say, well, that's not real. That's not actually happening.
I feel like a lot of it too is the rushing, like production, like, when we do, like when we make short films, when I've made short films in the past, or helped someone, or whatever, I kind of try to be conscious of how long it took us to, film the movie, and then separate the editing portion of it, and then whatever, like if there was a continuity error that was too big to ignore and all that kind of thing. So I'm well aware of when you like extrapolate that, I think is how you say that word, and make like a blockbuster production that takes years or months to produce, from start to finish. And you're like, well, we spent, it's kind of like when you make a happy birthday banner and you're like, oh, I in my mind, I spaced this out, and you do like a gigantic H and an A and a P. And by the time you get to the day and birthday, you're like, why does the Y look malnourished? It's kind of like that. So where it's like, but at the end of it, you're like, well, I spent $1 billion on this paint and on this parchment paper. I can't redo it now. So the audience is going to have to get what they get. And we see it as super fans. We see it, the end fight of Black Panther was rushed. If Black Panther did not have the post-credit scene that we all know, where he talks about, build bridges, not barriers, and all that. If it didn't have that, if it didn't have the amazing Kendrick Lamar soundtrack that just seamlessly went in there, and if it didn't have Andy Serkis as the villain, and then obviously, we got juked and it was actually Killmonger the whole time. Fantastic performance by Michael B. Jordan. Obviously, overarching all of that is Chadwick Boseman's portrayal of T'Challa. If it didn't have those 4 elements, which are pretty big elements, but if it didn't have those 4 elements, it would have just been an okay MCU movie. It would have been like a Doctor Strange 1, in my opinion, which doesn't mean Doctor Strange 1 is terrible. It just means it was a good movie, but it was a good movie, a good piece of a grander puzzle. For some reason, Black Panther, with those things, the soundtrack, the acting, and the actors that they chose, made the movie huge for me, because I was like engrossed the whole time.
Yeah.
It didn't make it all about futuristic tech and then subpar acting. They kind of made it to where it felt like Wakanda was a real place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the establishment of that was just, phenomenal. It's just like with Thor Ragnarok. I think that's why I love Thor Ragnarok so much, is they literally spent so much time making sure you knew kind of the rules about this one place. What is that place called?
I think it's Qatar.
Called. Yeah, Qatar. Like, I mean, they put so much heart into how it's portrayed, that you literally felt that that's where you were, that you felt like you were there, that it was a real place, that you could be there, and that, Thor was trapped there, so I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. I think that's probably why I love both of those movies so much, and they're so high on my list. They're both movies that I can rewatch so many times and still be happy and still laugh at the parts that I thought were funny to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's pretty rare in a movie nowadays. It's hard to find movies that you can rewatch, have such rewatchability, I guess.
And not to say that I don't think movies can be overrated, because I've said this a couple times. The Godfather trilogy, I think it's insanely overrated. I think it's a very good movie, a movie series. I think it's very good as far as like what it did for cinema, what it did for the gangster movie genre. But I myself am okay if I don't see those movies again. It's not like a Scarface or like, what's the other one that I watch all the time? Goodfellas, my favorite one.
Yeah.
I could watch those movies over and over and over again. The Godfather is like, to me, The Sopranos is more impactful than The Godfather for me. Like The Godfather it was okay. I didn't like the fact that they did it from the what is it, from the end to the beginning or the beginning to the end, where you watch it and then all of a sudden like certain characters are already dead by the time you get to the present. It to me it was just like, it's good. I like what they did, but afterward, like.
Yeah. See, and for me, I don't really care for the genre. I don't the genre of gangsters and stuff. It's not something that I can get into. I can appreciate the movie because it's a good movie. Like the Goodfellas, for instance, it's a good movie, but it's not something that I can relate to at all. Cause that's just, I never grew up around that kind of stuff and I never had any desire to, and it just was just not something I can relate to. I can relate to a movie more like Grown Ups, for instance, because it's got kids and things that I can relate to.
You're just 100% mom. I got it.
Yeah. Well, not 100%. I do have other things. Thank you. Like I still love like action movies and stuff too. Like Mission Impossible. I used to watch all of those movies and stuff as a kid, and I freaking those were awesome. I couldn't wait for the next one to come out. So, and then of course all the like Harry Potters of the world and Lord of the Rings and all those kind of epic movies too. I like those too. I guess gangster drama is not my thing. That's just all. Which is
it's fine.
Yeah.
Anything from chat before I read off some of these winners?
Yeah. Mithrander says, I honestly am glad about the What If series, which you and I have not delved into, which I'm really sad we have not.
Not yet.
Because I think animated super stuff has the potential to far surpass live action because of the creative decisions and freedom to do what they want. And I 1,000% agree with you, Mithrander. I think that, the animated realm for some of this stuff, especially some of the comic stuff, is a little bit easier for them to produce more of, because it's easier to get a whole team of animators and have them do, their animations, and they come together for one product, as opposed to getting a bunch of actors and trying to get everybody together and getting a set made up and all that kind of stuff. So, creating something animated for some of the stuff that is supposed to continue forward, I think is a great idea and brilliant idea on Disney, because, Disney is going to rule the world at some point. So if not already,
once Disney buys Amazon and Walmart, the world's monopolized with 3 circles.
And then Mithrander has said that he would like an adaptation of the Mark Miller run of Wolverine, where he gets brainwashed and goes wild.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? Is that the one where he gets taken over by is it Mysterio that does that?
No, that's Old Man Logan.
That's a different one. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He gets like tricked in Old Man Logan. But no, the Frank Miller Wolverine, I have not read them, but I've heard of them and I heard that they're fantastic. Frank Miller, pretty much, that's what he does. But yeah, that would be great. I would love to see that. There's a couple of Wolverine X-Men stories that I would love to see, either animated or live action. Probably animated, because a lot of them are pretty violent, and I think it'd be easier to do that than try and make it live action with all the CG stuff. But I'd love to see Wolverine, that comic I always reference, where Magneto extracts the adamantium out of his pores and he's just like a husk of a man, and then he has to like heal back, and Magneto instantly realizes that the adamantium was containing his mutation. So when he forced it out of his pores and Wolverine healed, he healed as like a werewolf. Like he came back, he was like 3'5". He lost like 2 inches or 2 feet in height. He was like hunched over. His claws were like enormous, and he like was just a rabid monster. And he went at Magneto, and the fact that he had no adamantium, Magneto had no power over him anymore. So, that would be a really cool short to see. It's very, very violent, obviously. I'm I like horror movies. I'm not someone who, I've been on bloodydisgusting.com, if that makes sense. But I definitely I do understand that gratuitous violence is annoying. I'm well aware of that. I'm not like the guy who wants buckets of blood and everything. But anyway, with all that aside, I agree. I think animating comic book movies is a really smart move, because it can be cost effective. You don't have to worry about COVID. You don't have to worry about exposure. You don't have to worry about danger, unless, it's like someone's computer blowing up or something like that. You can kind of do what you want. And we're getting better and better with the technology, to where we can watch an animated movie for 2 hours. At least I can, for 2.5 hours, and it be really cool, especially if they do it right. But I think we've been on for almost an hour. And we haven't announced any of these winners yet.
No, we haven't. So, yeah, I'm sorry, you guys.
It's all good. So, first off, for the month of August, I know that seems like a long time ago from today. We did roll that month first, obviously, and I think he's in the chat. The winner is Mark McKeever. I'm not going to tell you what you won, bro, but you are going to be getting something in the mail. I pretty sure I've sent you things in the past. If I haven't, message me on Patreon with the address you'd like me to send it to. But you are August's winner, so clap your hands in the chat for Mark McKeever winning in August. Thank you, babe. Appreciate that. Next up for the month of September is a longtime patron of the channel, as well as Mark McKeever. Jump3R is what his handle is. I did talk to him through messaging, and I was like, I suck because I can't say your real name because I'm terrible at that. And he was like, yeah, you can kind of learn how to say it. And I was like, you're right, I can.
He is not here though.
He's not in the chat. Yeah, I don't think because I think he's also from the UK somewhere, and the timing and everything is rough, but he's gracious enough to be a patron of the channel and support the channel's growth that way and everything. So you won the month of September. You will also be receiving something in the mail. I think I've sent you things in the past, but you probably were one of the people who had the stuff sent back to us.
Yeah, there was one that we got sent back. I'm not sure how, why.
There was a couple, I think.
Of course, the UK post I know is a little weird.
Yeah.
It can be a little weird. So
yeah.
You have to kind of be careful with it.
But we're going to try anyway. And if it doesn't work, we'll try again.
Yeah.
And then October, which I know we're like the second day of October. Before I say who won October, another thing I didn't want to forget, I should have wrote notes on what to touch on this live. CJ and I have, as you guys probably heard from last week's live when I was playing Batman, CJ and I have been doing a lot of horror content, like him watching horror movies that he has never seen. CJ's not big on jump scares, but he was nice enough to agree, and you'll probably hear that a lot in the videos, that he was nice enough to agree to do these videos with us because it's for content. And I'm like, hey man, we'll watch it in the daytime. It's like 1:00 p.m. There's no monster that's going to show up for another 12 hours. You're fine. And he was like, sure, I'll do it. I'll watch all these movies that I've been, neglecting because I've not been into them, And so we've watched quite a few horror movies, a lot of iconic ones that he missed, a lot of newer ones that are just fantastic. And then we have a lot more to do. I wanted to do one for every day in October and have them come out every single day. And that was the plan a month ago. And we actually got into it. But a bunch of stuff obviously happened. I'm glad I didn't make that announcement preemptively, even though in some of the videos, I think I say it in the intro. If I don't come up with 30, obviously, because we're in the second day and I didn't do one yesterday or today, I will be doing 31 horror movies. It's just two or three of them might come out in the first, week of November. But that's definitely the plan for October, in addition to any kind of horror short movies that I have scripted that I'd like to film with some of my friends. Just, small, you guys are used to that stuff, small, short horror movies that get done. So a lot of things for October. It's probably my favorite month out of the year. It's my favorite season. It's my favorite holiday month, all that good stuff. But yeah, so October's winner is none other than Joyful Spirit, who is in the chat.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yeah, so I definitely know how to get a hold of you. I've sent you things in the past. You've sent me things in the past. So you will be receiving a package. Hopefully you and your wonderful children and husband enjoy what I send you this month. Thank you so much to all three of you who happen to, two of you happen to be in the chat. You guys have been longtime patrons of the channel. If anyone out there in the chat right now, especially if you're new here and you just stumbled on the channel, would like to be a patron, I will put the link in the video's description once it uploads to YouTube, because it's gonna, I guess, take time to compile and all that good stuff, and then I'll be able to add a description to it. The link to the Patreon, the link to the Teespring is snapkeepvideos.com. Definitely go on there, show some love, get yourself sweet t-shirts and stuff, and mugs and leggings and all that kind of stuff on the Teespring page. I was able to set that up as snapkeepvideos.com instead of a Teespring link. But yeah, the patrons of the channel, super, super invaluable to the channel's growth. I was able to get this kind of production value with these mics and the headsets and the soundboard and everything else. And obviously the horizon looks, I want to say good, because I'm going to make it that way, and I'm going to make more content, or I'm going to have more content ready to be viewed, not because I have a ton of it already made, and then make more and then have that out and then get an editor. For the love of God, I have to get an editor. So thank you guys so much. Unless you have anything else to touch on, I think my butt is getting numb in this chair. But
I mean, they're comfortable, but it's definitely not one of those things that you're like, I'm gonna sit here for the next like 5 hours. Like,
yeah, well, we have like
sure.
2 inches of, it's like 2 inches of cushion.
Fluff,
but the thing is, you're sitting on that cushion and you're slowly pancaking it to just solid
Yeah.
wood. That's the bench underneath.
Oh no, Joyful Spirit, nothing scary for sure. Nothing scary. Definitely fun, and your kids will enjoy it. You and your kids will definitely enjoy it. I promise you that. It's
Yes.
nothing scary. I promise.
Yes.
Even though I guess I could see how you would think that since it is October.
It is October,
so-
yeah.
No, nothing scary. Something exceptionally fun, I'm sure.
So the die, when we rolled the third time for October, the little die there, when we rolled it, it rolled on a nat 20, and the nat 20 that it rolled on was for Joyful Spirit, or for October. It turned out to be Joyful Spirit who won, and I thought that was really fitting, that because I know that you like role playing games and D&D and stuff. So I was like, wow, I rolled on a nat 20 and Joyful Spirit was the one who won on the list randomizer. So I'm going to be sending the D20 with the other prize with you. So there is going to be a little small D20 that Ashley's holding right now that's going to be in the box. So if it falls on the ground, that's what it is.
Yeah. It actually has a lot of more detail in it. And when you actually look at it, it's not just strictly white. It's got little flecks of different colors and stuff in it. It's actually a pretty cool die.
I call it the confetti D20. I used it quite a few before I turned it into my player dice.
Yeah.
I have this gigantic nail carpenter. It's called a bucket boss, and it holds all different types of nails, but it has 7 compartments. So I'm able to put all of the 7 dice that you use for D&D. And now this is where my players just dig in and take one of each die when they come play at my house. So this die ended up becoming one of those from my personal collection. So now it becomes yours. And that's probably going to do it for the live, unless there's any other last minute things you guys want to ask there in chat, or Ashley wants to say on the air.
Miss Rander's asking, what do you play as pastor in D&D?
Well, currently, my Dave, my boss over where I work at, he's running an employee campaign, just something out of it's a homebrew, but he's using the Eberron source book to kind of put the setting, because that's where all of our characters are from. I am a Dampier rogue whose name is Armand, and my hunger is cerebral spinal fluid. There's a part in the book of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which Ravenloft is my favorite setting in D&D, the macabre gothic horror setting. Go figure there. And I play a half human, half vampire rogue. My friend Andres plays he's like a alchemist. Trying to think what the other word is. It's like artificer. They're an artificer. And then Tyler plays a warforged that was deactivated and then reactivated. So it's a very interesting campaign. Neither in game, they don't know. Obviously out of game, they know what I am, but in game, they don't know that I'm a Dampier. I'm waiting for an opportunity to just show it. Like we're going to be fighting or whatever. And then if I botch one of my percentile rolls that I roll personally, I'm going to just rage out and feed on one of the creatures, and they're going to go, what are you? Because to this in-game, they think I'm a human this entire time. They think I'm a lame human because one of them's an artificer, one of them's a warforged, and I'm just this like emo dude wearing velvet, and they're like, what's up with this guy? So,
which, I mean, no hate on anybody that likes to play a human in D&D. There's literally nothing wrong with that. Why be a human if you can be like a vampire or a tiefling or something like that?
Well, the thing is, that's why humans are so buff, is because no one wants to play them.
That's true. That is very true. So Mithrander says that he's an annoying tiefling, which I'm sorry, you might be a girl, so I apologize if I gendered you there. Annoying tiefling. And anytime I play in D, my go-to is always a druid, because I love animals and stuff, and I love just raging out into a bear and just coming after my characters, or not my characters, but my enemies stuff. I mean, yeah.
Or setting your husband on fire.
Yeah, or setting you on fire in the first like 30 minutes. So also JC Cook, thank you so much. He did a super chat.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. He said, hold up, been meaning to do this. I appreciate you, man. Hope everything works out for you. I can't send much, but Pastor and Ashley, we love you guys. And dude, we love you too. You really didn't have to do that. We appreciate it. And, I can't wait for more content. I'm really excited about more content. I don't know how you feel, Pastor, about it. But
obviously, yeah. And you get to see what the content is. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to be, uploaded. And I'm like, it's going to take editing and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. It's like, that's like, we need to watch the rest of those videos that Joyful Spirit gave us, because I'm really excited to watch the rest of those. I just love the first movie so much that she sent us.
Yeah. And we kind of did the other one out of order, but it's okay. It'll be okay, I think.
Yeah.
Super, super excited for those to come out. And also, Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai season 3 came out.
Yes,
and
I know.
I keep going through it over on Netflix, and I'm like, I need to start this. So honestly, I'm probably going to take a break on all the MCU stuff and all the stuff Disney releases, like Loki and all that other stuff. Probably not do any content on that for a while. Maybe just do some podcast episodes talking about how we feel, because I finished Loki. So I'd like to talk to you guys about my opinion on it, and then have you finish it.
No, I was going to say, guys, I haven't finished it yet. I've been waiting because I didn't know if you want to film, but I'm okay if we do stuff like that. And then we, if you guys would prefer, instead of watching our reaction, we can just talk about it.
And then you guys can actually like Cobra Kai is really, you guys really want us to watch Cobra Kai, like Joyful Spirit really wanted us to watch Gamers.
Definitely.
Things that you guys are really into us watching a lot and having live reactions. We'll prioritize that over whatever the newest best thing is. That's why we haven't done What If. I kind of got a little overwhelmed because I was like, so much stuff is coming out that's brand new. Well, you
can't keep up with it. Disney just keeps pumping that stuff out. Like they're a freaking machine, man.
Yeah. But thank you so much, JC Cook. Again, as Ashley said, you really didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. I hope you sort stuff out as well. Depression, I'm here for you. If you need to email me, I got an email attached in the about section. I think it's snapkeepvideos@gmail.com. And that goes for anybody out there watching. That email is only for my content creation. So I don't have hey, come buy a TV 50% off on Best Buy. I don't have any of that stuff on that email. So if I get an email on that, if I get a notification, I know it's from one of you guys or from some other business endorsement or something like that for the channel. But you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I think we had a consistent average of like 10 people in the chat the entire episode or the entire live. I'm glad I was able to do that. And I say episode because we're in the podcast.
Yeah, I know. Well, Jason Cook also says that he can't do Patreon, but I'm with you until the end of the line.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that means more to me than anything. So thank you so much.
Yeah. If you can't be a patron, we totally understand. It's not something that you have to do just to enjoy the channel. We want you to enjoy the channel because you like the content and you like us, and we love talking about this kind of stuff and we love discussing it with other people because, whether your opinion is the same as ours or if it's different, I love to hear that different feedback because, not everybody is the same and that's okay. And I think, more of the world needs to know that even though I don't, like if I don't agree with you, it's okay. Like we could still be friends. It's okay. Yeah. So,
and I mean, all the contributions too, I always say that in the videos, they go directly to the influence of the channel. So I want you guys to feel invested when you do that. Those of you that have been patrons since the beginning, that's where your hard-earned donations go. I'm very thankful because, you don't have to do that, but you guys choose to, and you value us enough to do that. So, my heart goes out to you guys. Thank you. I'm super, super appreciative of that. And hopefully you guys stick around with the channel and everything because I plan for it to grow and have more people. And I'm actually going to talk to you when we get off about a couple ideas that I had for the Patreon itself as far as like moving around certain benefits. Okay. And then once we iron that out and I am able to actually fix it on the website, I'm going to send a massive message using Patreon to get a hold of all the patrons now and tell them, hey, those of you who may or may not have had this benefit now have it or whatever, you know what I mean? Okay. So we'll talk about that when we get off. But anyway, unless there's any last minute things, I think we can
I think that's pretty much it. Joyful Spirit just said humans and households was not next in order, but you will be fine.
Gotcha. So I just dropped the dice. That's what that was.
Okay, I was like, what was that?
So
okay.
On behalf of you, me, and this guy, you have anything you got to say, Venom?
No, not really.
Okay.
That thing. Oh, no, please don't.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We love you and we'll see you soon. I just messed my voice up trying to do the Venom voice. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Let's go see what else Sunday has for us. And you guys do the same.